All right, and hey there, guys. Mr. Kennedy going to start you off here with your Chapter 7, Lesson 4 video notes. So all about glory, war, and the decline. So it matters. So the Peloponnesian War had a dividing effect on Greece, and Greek culture declined after the Athenian lost to Sparta. So here we go, and Mr. Kennedy is going to start you off on the next slide here. Move myself over there like that. So, all right, around 500 BC, Athens became a democracy. And a democracy, remember, this one means the rule by the people. So for the first time in history, a government was based on the votes of all of its citizens. So remember, all, and remember, not everyone was a citizen. So remember that women and slaves were not citizens. So from 461 to 529 BC, Athenian democracy reached its height under Pericles. So we're going to put Pericles on top here. Mr. Kennedy's getting good with that pen here. So Pericles is going to be at top. And Pericles began to reward citizens who participated. So I want you guys to go ahead and underline those two in your packet. So he would actually pay the citizens as well as give them land if they themselves participated in the government. So rule by the people and all of the citizens. So that's going to wrap up Pericles for you guys here. And I believe Ms. Tickle is going to come in and remind you guys a couple other things about our friend Pericles. So here you come, Ms. Tickle. Hopefully you can erase my pen marks.
Hi, guys. Okay, so as Mr. Kennedy said, Pericles took democracy to its height, to its peak. And that's why we have the triangle drawn here. That's like a mountaintop, the peak of the mountain. So you have Pericles at the peak of the mountain. Now we're going to move on, and I'm going to read this to you before we go into the hot question. This is Pericles' funeral oration. In 430 BC, Pericles addressed the people of Athens at a funeral for soldiers who had died in battle. In his speech, Pericles tried to comfort the Athenians by reminding them of the greatness of their government. An Athenian citizen does not put private affairs before the affairs of the state. Even our merchants and businessmen know something about politics. We alone believe that a man who takes no interest in public affairs is more than harmless. He is useless. So your hot question is, what responsibilities does Pericles feel, we're going to move that one back, feel Athenian citizens have? Remember, this is 3 to 5 sentences. Restate the prompt, and there is definite vocab that needs to be used in here, guys. This is Pericles, and we're talking about him taking democracy to its height and its peak. Okay, so 3 to 5 sentences, use those vocab, and no pronouns. Next, what we're going to do is match the number that you see here on the compare and contrast. You are going to match that to the correct box. So what you need to do first is look at the chart. Democracy then and now. In Athenian direct democracy, all citizens met as a group to debate and vote directly on every issue. This is what a direct democracy is. The citizens are directly involved in it. The population is small enough that everyone can vote, and those votes can be tallied because the population is small and it's easy to count it up. There was no separation of powers. Citizens created laws, enforced laws, and acted as judges. And in a direct democracy, only free male citizens could vote. Women and slaves could not vote. Now, through cultural diffusion, our United States takes the basis of a democracy, but we formed a representative democracy. And that is because we have such a large population, we have to elect people to go vote for us because it's just too difficult to count up all of our votes when laws are made. So in an American representative democracy, citizens elect representatives to debate and vote on issues for them. There is a separation of powers. Citizens elect some people to create laws, others to enforce laws, and others to be judges. Remember, guys, you're going to learn all about this in 7th grade civics. Tell them Miss Tickle said hi. Men and women who are citizens have the right to vote. So in Athens, that wasn't the case. But in America, men and women can vote. So now what you need to do is look at these numbers. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You need to place those numbers either in the Athens box, the United States box, or the both. This is like a Venn diagram. You need to see what is in Athens, what is in the United States, and what do they have in common. Okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. Here's Miss Hodges for you guys. Bye.
And here we go. Let's continue with more wars. So today we talked about in class the Peloponnesian Wars. No. We talked about the Persian Wars, and they're leading up to the Peloponnesian Wars. And some classes finished and some classes didn't leading into this one. So depending on where you are will depend on how you understand what's going on. But we will cover it, don't worry. But let's talk about the Peloponnesian Wars. So after the Persian Wars, Athens is super strong. And they established the Delian League that will allow all the city-states to be united so that...
Austin Langford, please report to 310.
Okay, so I'm just going to let that go and start over. All right, so we're looking at the Peloponnesian Wars, and these follow the Persian Wars that we talked about today in class. So after the Persian Wars are over, and Athens is feeling very successful, and so are the other city-states, because they just defeated the largest empire in the world, and they are feeling very confident of themselves, and they think that Persia could possibly come back and attack again, so they formed what's called the Delian League. That's one of the results of the Persian War. So the Delian League is established, and all city-states are supposed to pay money to the Delian League to support them and to be prepared with an army and a navy in case Persia ever comes back and wants to attack again. So the city-states formed an alliance after those Persian Wars, and that alliance protected each city-state, but it also protected trade in the Aegean Sea, because we want this area to be free of pirates. We want to be able to trade freely in all this area and go back and forth. And so the city-states are going to give money to support this alliance. And the money is going to be kept on this island out here, on the island of Delos. That is the city-state. It's the little one right beside the bigger one. And they're going to keep the money there. And that alliance is going to be known as the Delian League because it's on the island of Delos. Athens, however, is always the strongest member. And it began to treat the other members like subjects. So remember when the Persians came through and they destroyed all of Athens, they began to use the money that was given for rebuilding the navy and army to actually rebuild Athens. Pericles did that. He used the money inappropriately, misappropriation of funds, and he began to use that money to rebuild Athens, and that made some of the other city-states a little upset. They were not pleased with this division of money. And so Sparta and some of the other city-states did not join the Delian League. They actually formed their own league on the Peloponnesus out here, and they called it the Peloponnesian League. They were the ones that wanted to stand up to Athens because they felt like Athens was being a little bit bossy and being dominating, and that Athens wanted to create an empire and leave the other city-states behind. And they kind of did. Athens had the strongest navy, while Sparta had the strongest army. And this makes a difference because we told you about that. The reason that matters is because the war lasted for 25 years and was only won when Sparta got enough gold from Persia in exchange for some territory. So here's the kicker. So all the battles that were fought near the ocean are on Athens is going to win a lot of those sea battles, and Sparta is going to win the land battles. There's some neutral places going on, but we can see on our map right here, all the orange places are Athens and Sparta. The green ones, Athens and its allies, and the green ones are Sparta. Guys, this is just drives me crazy. So they fought for 20 years. Nobody could really get the upper, 25 years, and nobody could get the upper hand. But finally, Sparta made a deal with our old pal Persia for some gold. Sparta got money from Persia, built more ships, and you know what they gave back to Persia in exchange for the gold? The Ionian city-states. So we are back right where we started from with the Persian Wars. So Persia gets back the Ionian city-states on that side of the Aegean Sea. The war lasts for 25 years. Sparta gets gold in exchange for Persia coming to help, and they were able to defeat the Athenian navy with Persia's help. So the effects of this, although Sparta won the war, Greece is very weak and divided. United we stand, divided we fall. Many farms were destroyed, and people were left without jobs. It was a mess. Nobody wins in a civil war. These two city-states were both Greek, and they were fighting each other. The only people that died in this war were Greek men. The only lands that were destroyed in this war were Greek lands. Nobody wins in a civil war. The whole country becomes weak. United we stand, divided we fall. The farms were destroyed. People were left without jobs. That left people starving. That left people desperate, and it made people do things that they probably wouldn't do, and there was chaos across the land. Sparta ruled very harshly, which led to many rebellions because the people are already agitated. They don't have what they need. The Greeks failed to notice, United we stand, that in the north, Philip of Macedonia was beginning to grow in strength and favor. And so, united we stand, divided we fall. It wasn't long before Philip of Macedonia comes down. Some people say Philip of Macedon, but I've heard very few say it that way. It's always Macedonia. He comes down, he takes over the Greek city-states, he defeats all of them. He allows them to keep their own city-state government still stuff going on, but they, again, have to pay tribute to Philip, and Philip is Alexander the Great's dad. So there you go. That is the Peloponnesian Wars in a heartbeat.